Dagger Productions, who are opening their latest play, Gossip, tonight at the Gas Station Arts Center. It runs through this weekend. Plus, they just announced their 2025-2026 season. We'll get into some of that in just a little bit here on the program. Plus, our poem of the morning coming up in this hour when a celebrity in their midst collapses dead to the floor. A journalist investigates her death and discovers that there's far more to this death that meets the eye, with politicians, lawyers, and more barring the way to the truth. That's the premise for George F. Walker's play Gossip, which opens tonight at the Gas Station Arts Center. The production is being presented by Hood and Dagger Productions, who are also looking ahead to their next season, which was just announced this week. I'm joined in the Classic 107 studios today by effects and makeup artist Chloe Brown, assistant stage manager Teresa Zehr, and Hood and Dagger's co-founder and the director of Gossip, Brian Hood. Good morning to all of you.
Morning.
Good morning.
Maybe we can start with you on this one, Brian. What first drew you to this play, to Gossip, and made you think that this was a show that should be shared with Winnipeg audiences?
So Gossip by George F. Walker, I read this play 25 years ago. To be perfectly honest,
Wow.
when I was graduating from high school, somebody gave me an anthology of George F. Walker's work, and I have been waiting years to find the right opportunity to put on this play. So it was a long time coming. Why it happened right now? We wanted to put on something that was Canadian. We wanted to put on something here that we could use our local audiences and our local cast and crew with. And I think it just spoke, it speaks to the time now as much as it did before about our obsessions with celebrity and gossip and how sometimes that gets in the way of finding out the truth of what's really going on in the matter.
What first struck you about Gossip when you read it all of those years ago?
Oh boy, well, some of the characters are so zany, they're wild. George Walker has an excellent ability to create people who are, they're real people. They're people that you might recognize in your life, but they're the wildest people that you know in the real world as well. And so some of those zany characters, I wanted to put them on stage. I wanted to see how our reporter can deal with them and try to investigate this murder. So people are going to love that.
Yeah, absolutely. Teresa, when you are first encountering these characters as you've been putting Gossip together, what have your impressions been of their zaniness, and have you been able to recognize some of these characters maybe from your own life?
Oh, absolutely. I would say the actors have done a really fantastic job of really delving into the characters' inner selves and been able to pull out both the worst version of these characters, but also really dug into the best version of themselves as well. And so you'll see both sides of that as you come to see the show.
It seems like the worst version of these characters is also, at the same time, the best version of these characters.
Exactly. And sometimes you'll see both of that really quickly from side to side in a scene.
Wow. When you're trying to amplify the zaniness as the effects and makeup person, Chloe, I'm wondering what sorts of tools do you have in your belt to bring out the best, worst, at the same time, qualities of these characters?
Well, I'd say talking with the actors is really a big key because they have more of an understanding of what the characters are. And so we start having that conversation, and then honestly, sometimes it's when we put on that eyeliner or, because this one is 80s inspired, 80s era, put on the brightly colored eyeshadow. They're like, okay, I'm in it. I'm in the character. And it's like, they're in it. They're good. And it's so exciting just to see that transformation, even when we're just sitting up in the makeup area and they walk onto stage. So it's so fun.
What are those conversations like as you begin to piece these characters together from a visual perspective?
I like to understand kind of the attitude and do we need to see more of their face in a certain area? So with one of the transformation makeups, we really need to make sure that all the characteristics that make them a little bit more kooky, and so we draw a little mustache on one of the guys just to understand, okay, well, if it's a big bushy mustache, this guy means business and he takes care of it, but if it's a small little one, it's like, oh, it's a little more mysterious, a little bit more, a little wackier.
Yeah, right? all right. This is sort of a film noir sort of a style play as I'm reading through a little bit of it in preparation for this weekend's performances. I'm wondering, Brian, how do you translate these sort of film noir characteristics, literally film in the title of the genre. How do you translate that to live theater?
That's a great question. So film noir itself as a style, as a genre, is characterized by very strong lighting choices, very strong sort of costume choices. There's stark contrasts between the way that scenes start and end, and a lot of high drama moments as well. So we made sure in our costume design and in our lighting design that we're really taking that into perspective here. So audiences can look forward to some rapid scene changes, some rapid lighting changes, and just the way we can highlight the mood and the atmosphere of a very suspicious time.
Maybe I'm going to throw a different version of this question to all of you, and I'll start with you, Brian, on this. When we're talking about these sort of over-the-top characters, these gigantic light changes, these very quick sort of changes in scene, what's the balance that you have to strike between bringing out the zaniness and over-the-top nature of these characters while also ensuring that the audience is kind of staying bought in to this production on as you're going about the telling the story?
Right. Yeah. So an important grounding point, I think, is the main character, Tyrone Power, the investigative journalist who's going throughout it. He is the everyman. He represents the audience, their hopes, their dreams, their investigation into the murder here. And so I think he is the grounding point that moves from scene to scene. If you think of Alice in Wonderland, strange things are happening all throughout, but Alice is that reality that keeps pulling the drama together and holding the audience, in their hands throughout it. So I think that was an important choice we made, is really typifying him as a regular individual.
I see. And then when you're trying to execute all of these different changes, all of these over-the-top design choices that have been made along the way, Teresa, as the assistant stage manager, how do you ensure that these characters then find that grounding and that believability so that it doesn't, so that zaniness that we were talking about doesn't completely fly away? It strikes me this is almost like a souffle almost that you're trying to create. At the second that you lose like a certain part of that process of creating this play, it could all just completely deflate.
Yeah. I think one thing we really try to do is to keep things around them authentic as well, whether it's props or furniture and stuff like that. So we've done just a lot of thrifting, looking for props from the 80s or whatever era our plays are in. And we've had a lot of success with that. Even if it's little things, the little things are the details, right? And that's where the key is. So whether it's a folder that they're carrying or, a wallet that they have to show ID in or stuff like that, those things actually make a really big difference, and it keeps them anchored in the era, and it's something that they're hanging on to that really shows what they're trying to express, as well as the words that they're saying and the mood that they're trying to portray.
Chloe, maybe the same thing to you. How do you give the characters that sort of visual balance as they are about to take the stage in their makeup and all of the effects that you then have to execute?
I'd say, well, the main character is the most important, right? He should stand out. Everyone else is just helping create the world around him. So, they shouldn't stand out too much, but they should still have their special place, right? A little thing that when you look at them, you're like, okay, this is this character. They're not getting confused with somebody else. They all stand out alone, but together they work really well as a team and create that environment, that time. And like you were saying, Teresa, the little props help too, and the costuming. And so making sure the eye makeup matches the clothes, the jackets, the little pieces. So, what's on their face isn't distracting from what's coming out of their mouth.
So important to make sure you're accentuating instead of distracting them. Speaking this morning with Chloe Brown, the effects and makeup artist with Hood and Dagger Productions and their latest show, Gossip. I'm also joined by Teresa Enns Zehr, the assistant stage manager, and Hood and Dagger Productions co-founder and the director of Gossip, Brian Hood, in the Classic 107 studios today. I've got a chance for you to win some tickets for one of the productions of Gossip coming up in just a little while. We'll be joined in conversation with these three wonderful theater makers again after we look at your weather and traffic from Gossip, the latest production from Hood and Dagger Productions, which opens tonight at the Gas Station Arts Center. We've been speaking this morning with Brian Hood, the co-founder of the company, as well as this show's director, in addition to Chloe Brown, the effects and makeup artist, and assistant stage manager Teresa Enns Zehr. Brian, there's another important element, I understand, to this weekend's performances, in that you've partnered as an organization with Manitoba Harvest for the run of Gossip. I'm wondering if you can tell us a bit about their involvement and what you're doing for them this weekend.
Absolutely, and that's part of our mission here with Hood and Dagger. Is we always partner with a different charity on each of our shows, so that a portion of our proceeds can go to help a worthy cause. Manitoba Harvest is our charitable partner for Gossip, and they're doing tremendous work here, trying to alleviate hunger here in Manitoba and around the province. And so, everyone who comes out to see the show is in a way supporting the charity, and we think that's a very important aspect of community theater. All of us are volunteers, the actors, the backstage, offstage. We're all people with a day job here, and so when we're creating something like this, if it is financially successful, we want to be able to share that success with the community, and that's one way we do that, is through these charitable partners.
Another opportunity to experience Gossip, I understand, is through a VIP package that I was reading a little bit about.
Yes.
What can people expect if they attend Gossip as a very important person?
Yes. So there, we do have a VIP experience. It's on Saturday evenings and Sunday matinee. So in those two shows, if somebody wanted to take it up to elevate it to another level, they get a curated specialized meal at Zaytoon, one of the finest Middle Eastern restaurants here in Osborne Village, here in Winnipeg. And then they are taken to their seats, which are reserved for them. Everyone else is rush seating, so you get to have a reserved seat in the theater. And it's a very specialized experience that some of our customers like to engage in there. So
absolutely. And on top of all of this that's going on with Gossip this week, Hood and Dagger Productions announced its 2025-2026 season.
Yes.
What can people expect from the next season's offerings from this company?
Well, we have a fantastic lineup coming up for the next season. We're going to be kicking it off in October, around Halloween time, October 2025, with The Haunting of Hill House, a chilling masterpiece.
I'm sensing a theme.
Oh, yes. We like to bring the thrills and the chills here with Hood and Dagger. And then we're moving on in February 2026 to The 39 Steps, which is just a world-famous, highly acclaimed spy thriller comedy. Alfred Hitchcock did a movie on this back in the day. And then we're closing out our third show of the season will be Miss Holmes, which is a sort of a gender-bent version of Sherlock Holmes. And it's going to be fantastic. We've already gotten huge response from releasing our season. And there's a little rumor that those audience members who come to Gossip may be able to have the chance to have a special deal on season tickets available only to them at Gossip. So
not that you can confirm or deny.
No, I'm just a guy who's putting gossip out there.
Putting the gossip out there. Speaking of gossip, Teresa, maybe one final question to you, which is, what do you hope audiences take away from this experience of Gossip?
I hope that they take away enjoyment from the mystery, the intrigue, that they laugh a lot, they maybe cry a little.
Okay.
And they decide that maybe they want to get involved in next season, whether it's volunteering, getting season tickets, or acting on stage.
Fantastic.
Chloe, what about for you? What do you hope audiences take away from seeing Gossip?
Seeing the power of what a community can do. When we're putting like-minded, I know.
That was beautiful.
Sorry, deep statement.
Right for the jugular on that one.
It's crazy to see what like-minded people can achieve, and you really will see it on stage, right? It's just all volunteers coming together and deciding, my skill, because, for me personally, I'm not professionally trained in makeup. I do this on the side, and I get to meet other people who really enjoy theater, and so I get inspired, and we build something so cool, and it's going to show on stage, and the twists and turns, and just it's going to be so amazing, and I hope everybody comes and watches not only this play but all the future ones.
This play Gossip opens tonight at the Gas Station Arts Center. There are shows on Friday, 2 performances on Saturday, and a matinee on Sunday. Get your tickets now, though, because the Friday performance, as I understand, has already sold out. Those tickets are up at hoodanddagger.ca. You can also find a link to those tickets at our website later this morning, classic107.com, and on the Classic 107 app. Brian Hood, Teresa Enns, Zehr, and Chloe Brown, thank you so much for joining me in the Classic 107 studios to tell us more about Gossip.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.